The People's Declaration of Independence of Australia, issued by the People's Presidency, February 2025. Preamble. A nation's right to govern itself. We, the people of Australia, in recognition of our inherent sovereignty, do hereby declare our independence from all foreign rule, monarchical influence, and corrupt governance that no longer serves the people. For too long, Australia has remained a constitutional monarchy under the British Crown, shackled to a system that does not reflect the will of its citizens. Our democratic process has been eroded by career politicians, corporate influence, and a government that does not serve the people it claims to represent. Today, we stand as a free people, asserting our unalienable right to self-governance. We recognize that true independence does not come from symbolic reforms or hollow gestures. It requires a complete restructuring of our governance. Therefore, we establish the People's Presidency as the rightful government of Australia, built upon the principles of direct democracy, accountability, and emergent governance. It is not out of rebellion, but out of necessity, that we declare this new government, forged by and for the people, to ensure a future of freedom, prosperity, and justice for all Australians. Grievances. Why we reject the old system. We hold that a government derives its legitimacy from the people, and when it ceases to serve them, it is the people's right to alter or abolish it. The government of Australia, as it stands, has failed in its duties in the following ways. 1. Continued submission to the British Crown. Despite over a century of self-governance, Australia remains under the symbolic and legal influence of the British monarchy. This is a betrayal of our national identity and a refusal to recognize the full sovereignty of the Australian people. 2. A political system that no longer represents the people. Career politicians and entrenched parties have turned democracy into a game of wealth and power. The voices of ordinary Australians are drowned out by corporate donations, lobbyists, and party elites who serve themselves, not the people. 3. Big tech and media manipulation of democracy. The major technology companies have become gatekeepers of information, suppressing free speech, censoring political discourse, and manipulating elections through algorithmic control. These corporations now have more power than elected officials, violating the fundamental principles of an open democracy. 4. Corruption and lack of accountability. Scandals, cover-ups, and policies driven by special interests have become the norm in government. There is no true transparency as decisions are made behind closed doors, and the people are left in the dark about policies that affect their lives. 5. Economic policies that serve the few, not the many. The cost of living continues to rise, wages remain stagnant, and the average Australian struggles to afford basic necessities. Meanwhile, billionaires, corporations, and politicians grow richer at the expense of the working class. 6. Lack of action on Indigenous sovereignty and justice. The Australian government has failed to properly recognize and address the historical injustices against Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander peoples. Reconciliation has been reduced to symbolic gestures rather than meaningful legal and structural change. In light of these grievances, we declare that the government of Australia has lost its legitimacy, and we, the people, withdraw our consent from its rule. The vision of the People's Presidency. In place of this corrupt system, we proclaim the establishment of the People's Presidency, a government founded on a true republic, complete independence from all foreign influence, with Australia governing itself as a sovereign nation. Participatory democracy, a system that enables all Australians to directly influence governance, not just career politicians. Emergent governance policies that evolve based on real-time public engagement and transparent decision-making, ensuring adaptability to the needs of the people. Protection of free speech. Big tech and media corporations will not dictate political discourse, and censorship will not be tolerated. A new economic system, one that ensures fair wages, affordable living, and financial security for all, while preventing unchecked corporate exploitation. A true treaty with Indigenous Australians. Full recognition of Indigenous sovereignty, with Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander voices leading discussions on their own governance and future. This is the people's government, not controlled by parties, elites, or corporations, but by the free will of the Australian people. The formal declaration. We, the people of Australia, do hereby declare our independence from the British Crown, the corrupt government of Canberra, and all forces that oppose true democracy. We withdraw our recognition of the current Australian government as legitimate and recognize the People's Presidency as the rightful leadership of this nation. We reject foreign monarchy and all systems that do not serve the people. We claim our sovereignty, our right to self-rule, and our destiny as a free nation. This is not merely a vision. It is a reality we are building together today. We call upon all Australians who believe in true democracy, justice, and freedom to stand with us, join the People's Presidency, and help forge a new era of Australian independence. Together, we declare a free Australia. Signed, the People's Presidency. On behalf of the sovereign people of Australia,